Hi there, it's Simone. Thanks so much for joining me today as I am continuing with my Vlogtober series. I am thinking about decorating the next week. I have already put this acetate from the style planner in here. Next week is Halloween week, and so I just found these die cuts, and I'm thinking about decorating next week with Halloween stuff. And I also found these. Oh my goodness, I don't even know which one I like more, this one or this set, but they're puffy stickers. I don't know if you can see that well. They're like thick and foamy, and I would love to use them somehow, but I'm afraid that my book will be so bumpy at one side or one specific spot that I can't really use it anymore. So I'm curious to hear from you if you are using, or if you have these kinds of stickers. Do you put them in your journals, and how does it work? Because aren't they just the best? These are flatter, not as puffy and thick as these ones, but so I have this one still, and then this trick or treat one, a skeleton, this happy haunting owl, a spooky night, these florals, candy corn. Here we are. I think that's a mixture of several different spooky things. This one, oh, I like the cat as well. Maybe I definitely want to use that too. There's another pumpkin, You're Bewitching, Tricks and Treats, Sweater Weather Leaf, just a tag, Acorn, another candy corn, another witch picture, then Hey Pumpkin, another flag, and One Fall Day. So these definitely are from Coco Daisy. I'm just gonna put it up here. I usually don't, I usually color 1 week in advance, and that takes a lot of time because the pages need to dry. But I thought maybe I could put this on here somehow so that it is like a tab that sticks over from the page, because this one I think is B6, and since this is A5, maybe like this, or up here. Kind of, I really like the way, if you can see the boo, how the spider nestles in here. So maybe this way. What if we put this one on top of here? Not 100% sure about this. I like the boo eek too. Okay, I'm gonna put this back. I like the spider web too, but that's smaller. Okay, this one looks cool too. So I think I'm gonna get my stapler thingy, and then I'll be back and we can start decorating this here. Where is it? Katie from Katie's Nesting Spot gave me this doily that looks like a spider web. So if I put this here, that would be cool too. I like this, I really do. And maybe I could put orange underneath. So I guess what I will do is I will put in some watercolor first. I have this, I think I mentioned it in a video before. My son gave this vase to me for Mother's Day. It's a free present. He got this for free when we went on vacation to Germany last summer. We went on a hike and we walked past a house that had at least 25 tiny, like, not enamelware, like just ceramics and stuff outside, most of them vases, and they had a sign on them, please take. And so I just looked out of curiosity because I knew I didn't want to take anything with me because we had to travel places still, and I didn't want to take one of those things and break it maybe or stuff like that. But unbeknownst to me, he just looked at his dad and asked if he could take it for me as a present, and yeah, so that's where that was from. And this year for Mother's Day, so he kept it a secret and in his closet for 9 months after we got home, and then he gave it to me for Mother's Day this year. So here I added some watercolor, and this needs to dry now. And I think what I'm going to try doing is getting out my, there's drying tools. They are called heat tools, and I don't have one. Mine broke about 2 years ago, and I haven't purchased another one yet. But what I can do is get my hair dryer and dry it. But I also need to get the stapler, so I will be back. So I have decided to move to voiceover because the video turned out to be so long and there were so many things I had to cut out, like the hair dryer that I used to blow dry the paper, the pages. I don't have a heat tool. It broke about 2 years ago, and yeah, maybe I should get another one. This is a stapler, as I said, and the idea originally was to staple this down, and so that's exactly what I did. But for some reason, the second staple just didn't look right, so I'm removing it right now. And then I am going to work on the page where the orange color is. I really, I don't know what I really enjoyed working on this. I usually just plop down the color and then come back later and create, but I already knew that I wanted to use all of those Halloween decorations in this week, because I feel like that's just about the only week that I can use those things. For everything else, I mean, fall is several months long, and so if I am not using this acorn this week, I can use it next week. That's totally fine. And if there's not a color that is matching, then that's okay. Maybe next week. What? Yes. So I randomly pick colors to put on the pages. It depends on the mood. It depends on how I feel like I've been using this color every time, and maybe I'm not really inspired to use that color, so I use a different one. That's how I often color the pages. Last month, I think I started in the yellow and just went each page, one or two colors that I like that went together really well, and then I went to the next one. So I just used the watercolor tin as a guide for the colors that I was using. So it doesn't really, and then I just color them all through Monday through Sunday. It's because often during the week when I use my Hobonichi, I don't have the time to wait for the color to dry. So it's really easy for me or easier, better for me if I want to have watercolor, which I absolutely do, to do that all in one sitting. And what I'm trying to tell you here is that when you plan on adding stickers, paper, and glue it to the page on the right, make sure that if you want to add a watercolor on the back page, you have already added that watercolor, because the stickers tend to get very wrinkly, like they suck up all the water that you use on the using the watercolor, even though it never feels like your water will go through the paper. It's very humid. So I'm showing you the different printables. This bigger one that I cut in half so it would fit into my pouch is the October Digital uh, freebie goodie from Sissy's Art Cafe for 2020, and the smaller one was for 2019. When I first started to support her on Patreon, I went through all her older printables that you will have access to and printed those that I really liked. And I thought that I wanted them to be just half letter size. So I printed one sticker sheet on one piece, well, two on one piece of paper, because I thought that I would like them that small. I don't. I really don't like cutting out these tiny things. And so uh, after the second month, I printed them in full size. And it actually really, one of those images fits on one of the pages really nicely, and it makes a great element on a page. So I showed you all the elements that I really, really would love to use in that week. As I said, it's Halloween week, and I want to make sure that I use all the Halloween related items that I have in my stash, because that's what it's all about. I want to use it all up so I can get more, find other things in my stash. Well, ideally, the ideal goal would be that one time I do not have any Halloween related product, like, or very minimal Halloween related product, and then I go and uh, can look at all the shops that release so many beautiful Halloween items, and I can shop for a little bit and use that right away. That will be the ideal thing. So I made cookies, and I like them, but for some reason they are way too sweet. I don't know what I did wrong. It's my usual recipe and it's never too sweet, but this week they just, wow. It took us a long time, and the only people who ate them were my husband and I, to get to eat them, because we just couldn't warm up with them. I need to try something else. I I usually use the same base and then just add different, like, supplements. This time it was oats, um, butterscotch chips, nuts, and cranberries. And I think the butterscotch chips are just so sweet that I should have reduced the amount of sugar, but I didn't know. Um, I want to use, so this is the only new thing that I purchased, is this Once More with Love Halloween kit. I purchased the bigger size because I knew I was in the Hobonichi Cousin at that point, and the tiny Hobonichi Weeks kits often are just way too tiny. I loved them. Some of the makers, shops, Once More with Love is one of them, really make them so I can get a good use out of them, even if I'm not in a Hobonichi Weeks. But I think she didn't release one for this release, and so I just went with that sticker kit, just because I really love her stickers. And so, yeah, I'm talking again. That was when I thought I was still filming for a real-time video about how things um, work together. This sticker doesn't really fit the colors that are in the background, and I'm not sweating too much about it. I sometimes really like things that do not match too well because then they I can add more elements that bring these items together. So I could, for the title of my journaling for this day, I could mix a color that is on the sticker, and then things come together, and then maybe add more stickers that have this bright green and this blue in them, and thus making this page cohesive. I really love how the watercolors, that green and that blue, look um, on the page when you like make a brush stroke in the blue and then very closely, not right on top of it, just very closely next to it, so the colors can mix, but you don't mix them together. I just love how they intermingle. That is just the best. And then I saw this sticker sheet, not the sticker sheet. Well, I did, but the printable from last year, and I thought that the images here looked really nice with the color on the background and the unicorn and the mummy. And so I decided, well, if it's already here and I already know it works really well, then I can might as well add it. I think I just said it before. I usually don't do that. Um, I enjoy creating. I have a really hard time starting from scratch, so or from a white page. So having um, color on the page or one sticker on the page helps me um, jumpstart my creativity. But I do enjoy looking through my ephemera, making maybe even bringing out a stamp and adding that to the mix, and then building the page one day at a time, if that makes sense. If you've watched my video from, I think that was October 23rd, that is a journal with me video, or the way I really enjoy how the pages come together, and that is exactly what I like. So I'm adding the wet glue. I don't really have a strict rule on when I'm using wet glue and when I'm using I also have glue sticks. Often I use wet glue when the images are this detailed and there's so many different edges and pointy things sticking out. Um, and also when the thing that I'm gluing down is thicker, because I feel the wet glue sticks faster than glue stick, and especially when you're using the cheap Elmer's glue, um, it feels like the die cut just jumps off the page when you start moving it. And so, especially for the mummy and the unicorn, the wet glue would be my go-to. I If I hadn't had the unicorn and the mummy, I would probably have stuck down the printable things, the regular paper with glue stick. Okay, so now I'm debating where I want to add those stickers, and they're really big, so I was contemplating putting them on October 31st, but that is just one page, because then we move on to November, and November the Hobonichi Cousin has one kind of empty starting page that you can use any way you like. Some people add their vision board there, or their views. Some people create a monthly dashboard, and cover it all up. I use these empty pages for my YouTube schedule, and so I'm not using that page, and it is right in between the last day of the old month and the first day of the new month. And so there wasn't going to be a double page spread. I could have totally also added Halloween decoration to November 1st, but it's just not the next page. So I decided I would use the Sissy Art Cafe stickers that I received in my Patreon Happy Mail on this double page spread because who cares? It's all Halloween. I know people have been decorating their whole October planner with Halloween. I could have done that too. Totally, no problem. What I just thought that I had so many fall things in my stash still that I thought 1 week of Halloween stuff would be enough. What I love about using watercolor is how when you use the watercolor and once the watercolor touches the paper, instead of ripping apart or um, the paper like fuzzing up and creating holes, this creates valleys and hilltops and the water pools, and the way it dries, it's the best. But I think I'm going to be back in just a second to tell you about what I did with the pages. Okay, for some reason I did not turn on the video recording, so I don't really remember what I shared with you. I created all the watercolor backgrounds and then I stuck down the images. I'm not even sure if I wanted this one to go up here and this one to go down here. I think I chose the brown for this and the blue for this, and then here the red and the blue. This is what sticking together. So this is what next week is going to look like in the beginning. I really like the hollow foil. I like how this turned out. So we have this, and we have this here. This is already very much decorated, detailed. This one too. And this is still a work in progress. I would consider my pages done and not works in progress anymore when they look kind of like this or this. Even here there's space for a quote maybe, because those two are quotes. I have this one I would consider done. So once the writing has filled the page and I have gone back with maybe even more stickers, then I would consider the page done. And so I'm not concerned at all if, for instance, this page looks off. There's space here. Maybe there needs to go something. I'm not sure what that will be yet, and that's totally fine. I just wanted to show you one last thing, this. So maybe you ask yourself, what if you decorate the page and then you decide to do something that doesn't fit? So here I had actually and originally planned to put this right on this page, but it didn't fit because I had already put the sticker here. I then decided, so I'm going to put this here because I wanted to also add in this calendar cutout from a calendar from at least 10, 15, 20 years ago maybe. And so that fit here. So I decided, why not this here, make a double spread. And the only problem or thing that happened was that the ink, the black fountain pen ink, sits on top of the paper for a very long time, and I went to use my brush pen to go around this image, and when I went around I smeared big time. Yeah, can't do anything about that. Shit happens sometimes. I hope it doesn't happen to you. Don't forget to do something today that fills your soul. Thank you so much for spending some time with me. I hope to see you soon. Please let me know if you have a system on how you create your artsy journaling spreads. I don't use every page as a journaling spread. I also sometimes write down notes. Doesn't matter if they're decorated or not, but I'd love to hear your process. Until soon, bye.